can just keep it. Perfect. All right. One, perfect. Not a problem. So I'll zoom through this thing. All right. So, all right. Sure. All right. In that case, then, I'm going to zoom through these last two. If y'all can give me 5 more minutes. All right. So, high-performing schools do it this way. High-performing schools do it this way. And I don't know where your data is. High-performing schools have about an 8% here. Right? Look at him, Mr. Smart back there. And there's some points here, but just for the math. They're at about, believe it or not, about 5% here. What's left, Mr. Smart? Yeah. Yeah. Now, and these are... Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is they're really involved here. They do have smaller numbers down here. But believe it or not, they don't necessarily get here. The reason why is these people are resource driven. They're the kind of people who you say, look, you stand up as a principal and say, look, we need a new playground out here. We need some folk who can help us do some grant writing, who can do some fundraising, go to your jobs and see if you can get them to write us a grant, write us a check. And them people, they get their jobs. They write I'm working with a school right now. One of the parents wrote a $200,000 check to redo the boys' gym. Brother just whipped out a check and wrote $200,000. Do you think he comes to the PTA meetings? No. This brother is flying around the world, but guess what? Where he is all the time? He on that parent portal. He's signing in in the airport. Hey, how's my son doing? He was there. He was there, and he's shooting an email back to the instructor saying, Mr. Smart, was everything? I saw you shot me an email saying that he didn't turn in his homework. I will check on that. And then he's on there saying, you know, the wife, the nanny, whoever, boy didn't turn in his homework. See what's going on. I mean, that's the way that. But the thing that's real critical is here. Now, here's the magical thing. The magical thing is you don't need 87 to be high performing. You just need a core group of parents who are on fire. And what'll happen if you guys read the book called The Tipping Point. The Tipping Point is a great read if you haven't read it. The Tipping Point really just talks about, it's a business principle that talks about that all you need is a certain level of energy that will get movement. And then when the movement tips, it's like a snowball. So all you need is a core group of parents who will walk up and down that building, and I don't have no problem saying this. They'll even pray and anoint that walls like these kids gonna study. Parents who will get involved in such a way that they'll be on advisory committees, they'll sit with you and deal with issues, they'll find resources, and then what happens after the first year, after you let them know this building is open and you're invited and you can do this, they'll get on fire, 10, 20, 30 of them will get on fire. And then you'll get maybe 50 of them. And then you'll probably get 60 of them. All you need is a good percentage of parents who will be involved. And then I want to close with this, you all. Man, the power of 7. Go to the slide. I'm going to go to the slide that talks about 7. Here's what you all got to know, and you got to get parents to do this. You got to get them to understand that, look, I don't care who you are. There's only a couple things you got to do, and you can't tell me you can't do this. You got rest. We talked about rest and restoration. Remember that? We talked about homeschool communication. We talked about attendance. Talked about family and homework. Talked about family workshops. Talked about volunteering. And we talked about leadership. Now, here's the magic. I don't care who you are, grandma, ma, single, married, you travel around town. There are 4 things up here that every single one of your parents can do. And they need to be held responsible for doing it. They're the first 4 things. There's not a parent in your school that can't make sure Johnny gets to bed on time. Because when Johnny gets to bed on time, he comes to school well rested. When he's well rested, he remembers information. When he's well rested, his behavior changes. When he's well fed, his behavior changes. Mama, just make sure he goes to bed on time. I can handle the rest. If you want me to carry the burden, make sure he get to bed. Feed him, and I'll do the rest. How about this? Make sure I got current information on you. Give me that. If you can't do all the things we're talking about, make sure he's well rested, well fed, make sure I got current information on you. Number 3, get him here. He got to be here. Can you just get him here? He can't come here at 8:30. We start at 7:30. I don't know what time you start, but you know what I mean. Lastly, family homework. Ma, grandma, dad, maybe you can't do the work. Can you at least check it that it's done? Can you at least let him know that you are in the game? I will be checking your homework, and I will be talking to your teacher to see if you got some. As a matter of fact, she sent me an email that said you got homework. They sent me a one call that said you had homework. So what happens is now, Ms. Linda, you are the child, and you and I, you're the teacher, and I'm the parent, and you and I are talking back and forth, and we letting you know, me and her talking back and forth. What begins to happen? That's right. It changes the game. So I'm like, I get it. You can't get here. I get it. You can't be at the PTA meetings. I get it. You can't fundraise. I get it. I get it. I get it. But there's 4 things you and every mama up in here can do. You and every grandmother up here can do. You and every grandfather up here can do. You and every father up in this building can do. You can do these 4. If you get a bulk of your parents, a percentage of your parents doing those 4 things, it will change your school culture, and it'll change the burden that you have as an 18-year-old veteran, 18-year veteran, and it'll change the burden that you all carry as new teachers coming into this game. It'll change the burden. And don't add family workshops into it. Oh, man. Your quadrant 3 people and some of your quadrant 2 people will do all this. They'll do the family workshops, they'll volunteer, and they'll do. And I haven't even talked to you all about PBAs, but we really don't have time for that. But there are 2 other levels that just make it a systematic process. And once you get parents involved in a systematic process, they'll do.